Okay, I'm here as promised to prove to you what I said I would prove to you. Now, why should this matter to you? Why take the time to watch this video? If you have any concern with the courts, the United States of America, our federal judiciary being honest, if you have any concern with minorities being targeted for selective prosecution, civil rights violations, if that's the kind of thing that concerns you, you definitely want to watch this. If you're a stakeholder, if you're a member of the courts, of the United States courts, whether it be here in Oregon or whether it be in anywhere in the country, if you care about your reputation, about your good name, about what you've worked so hard for, then this should be especially concerning to you. Whether you be a judge, a clerk, a PO, of course, pretrial services, whomever, this should be very concerning to you. Here is some of the emails, not all of them, but some of them, from Todd Cantamesa, Supervisor, United States Probation here in Eugene, Oregon. Accusing me of not communicating with him in a period of time between mid-February to mid-March, 2/16 to 3/15 approximately, of 2021. That lack of communication, or his accusation that I failed to communicate with him adequately and taking it to the judge, Michael McShane, cost me my liberty. I've got a GPS unit on my ankle. I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what's the correlation? There is none. It's just a punishment that was given to me without due process, that was given to me without any hearing, that modified the conditions of my supervised release. That doesn't exist. Yes, you heard me correctly. My supervised release, that does not exist. So it's expired. Another argument, another video. Please watch that video. It's very compelling, very, very troubling as well. It's just insane. It's literally insane. I won't give that video up entirely, but it's an insane thing that happened to me. So let me keep on track here. So here he is saying, I've been able to reach you for days. We're having difficulty for reaching you for days. I respond. You've had an opportunity to read that now. He responds. This is forwarded to my attorney. This is his response to that. And then, let's see. That's mine again. And then I've got some attachments here for him. This is him acknowledging that the location monitoring equipment is a failure on his part after having left it at my house for 30 days. And that's the basis for all these calls. You're going to see a ton of calls right here that I'm going to show you here in a moment. It's because they set me up with this electronic monitoring equipment that they knew was a failure right from the start. I mean, literally on day one. And instead of doing what they're supposed to and replacing it, they left it at my house for a month, nearly a month. And so in that month, I was just inundated with phone call after phone call. You're going to see here in a second. And again, after knowing from the very, very first day that it was wrong, it was not providing the data that the court required to verify whether or not I was complying with the home detention that was supposed to be curfew. Another video, please watch the curfew home detention video. Extremely, extremely strong evidence of a crime that took place, committed by a probation officer, United States probation officer, Todd Cantamesa, supervisor. Again, as compelling as what I'm about to show you is that video about him breaking the law. What he basically does in that video, I'll give you a quick teaser, is he becomes the judge. The judge orders me on a curfew. Todd Cantamesa translates that into home detention, which of course is a much more severe consequence, and a GPS unit. So, can't make this stuff up. Please watch the video. If you're with the courts, I honestly feel bad. I genuinely feel bad for the hardworking, good, honest, ethical, just self-sacrificing people we have with the United States courts. Of course, all the justices that are there for a reason. They're all honorable men and women who have made all the right choices and uphold the Constitution. I really, truly would think, or like to think, that the persons like yourselves would take a great interest in my situation and try to distance yourself and rid yourself of this type of conduct and these type of people. It really does call into question the integrity of the United States courts. You know, you just have to. After what I'm showing you and what I've proved to you, there's no debate. It's not something that can be debated. It's just factual. It's what happened. So here we are. I'll show you the amount of calls. Get ready. Here it comes. 1 calendar month from the United States probation. And keep in mind, I was said to have not been in communication. I'll show you the hearing. Here we go. That is starting with 216. What you're going to see here throughout is you're going to see the yellow is outgoing calls, outgoing period. That means it originated with me and went out. The pink is a text message, whether it be in or out, is just reflecting of a text message. The green hash mark is all incoming traffic, if you will, all incoming calls or texts. The blue highlighted ones and the ones that kind of faded to green because they overlap the yellow are all specifically to or from Todd Cantamesa. So the blue represents communication that went in or out to Todd Cantamesa between myself and I, the United States probation supervisor. The pink purplish color there is text messaging. The yellow reflects outgoing and the green incoming. So with that said, you have the kind of color code. It'll be self-evident after you watch it. I'm going to leave it here long enough so you can pause it and analyze it for those who really want to verify what I'm saying. So these are my direct records for my AT&T phone number. And here we are. So you'll see, I'll go real slow, let you see it all very nice and easily. There you go. Going up to the next one. And again, this is why I call what happened to me lies. This is why I call what happened to me reporting to the court deliberate and willful lies, you know, to cause my detention, to cause my loss of liberty by United States Probation Officer Todd Cantamesa. Again, all the ones in blue are from him. To or from him. The rest of every one of these calls that you see here originate with the United States Probation. Whether it be their cell phone or their desk line, every single one of these calls is to or from them or their call center in that calendar month. I wouldn't say calendar month, in that period of time between the 2/16 and 3/15 of 21. So it's February 16th to March 15th of 2021 is what I'm showing you here. So I'll kind of zoom out here, let you see what it looks like. That is what they call not communicating, not being in communication with. Again, no other way to describe that but a gross and deliberate lie. So here's a quick breakdown of the numbers. When you total up what you just saw, and you can total it for yourself, of course, you're going to get a total minutes spoken on the phone, actual talk time between Todd Cantamesa and myself is 4 hours, 10 minutes. That's that. Then approximately 250 minutes. Averaged out during that period of time for approximately 30 days, you're going to get about 9.5 minutes per day speaking between him, if you were to average it out. It wasn't a call every day or speaking every day, but that's just a way to keep it in perspective, because as everybody with the courts know and the probation and clients, that's what you will talk to a probation officer in my situation, a low risk, you know, report every month via online. You might talk to him that much a month. That's how much I spoke a day on average. So calls between us, between Todd Cantamesa and myself, 13 calls. 7 of them I made to Todd, 6 he made to me. Total communications between Todd and I. At his cell number, now this is important, at his cell phone number only, and at this particular number of mine only. See, all of this is not the extent of it. Give me a moment. I'm going to produce the video that's going to reflect the total, because there's my wife's phone and another line that I have. So this is reflective of just one telephone number. So in that period of time in which I was said to have not communicated, There were 89 total communications in 1 month. Could you believe that? To his cell phone. 13 calls, 76 texts. Here's the specific dates of the calls and whether they were made or received. So, this is the outgoing, which means I made the call. This is incoming, the IN, which means he made the call to me. And then that's the number of calls, because there's 13 of them, 1 through 13. And then there's the particular dates and the particular times. So, and again, that's all what you're going to see here if you were to break down this. If you were to, I'll give it to you one more time, so if you need to pause or whatnot, I'll try to get you 3 of them on one page. So if you pause it on your screen, you could theoretically view 3 pages at once and not have to do it 6 times instead of twice. So I'll move over to this 3, the last 3, and let you take that in. Get that thing in the right position. So again, this should be very, very concerning to anybody who's with the courts, who again, any American, anybody who values the law and upholding the law and honesty and doesn't support perjury and doesn't support lying to the courts. Judge Michael McShane, he especially should be concerned with this. He's the judge that got lied to and unwittingly played a role in this. But I do stress unwittingly. I have no evidence that the Honorable Judge Michael McShane had anything to do with this. So I don't want to try to purport that, or I want to make that very clear. In other words, Chief Judge Hernandez up in Portland. It's your district. You're the chief judge. This is the work of that man, Todd Cantamesa, U.S. probation supervisor down here in Eugene. I understand he's been in Portland as well, but just to give you that quick breakdown. And then there's the emails, of course. So if I were to search Todd in my emails here, you're going to see that at this email account alone, you're going to see quite a bit of conversations between him and I in that period as well. So here is, February, March 12th. So again, this is all emails sent to Todd. This is one of my bigger complaints with him. I'll let you read this just to get a taste, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, of the insane things that have happened to me. Insane. I mean, literally insane. Pardon the Grammarly prompts there to correct those things. I'm not the most talented speller or gifted person when it comes to writing. I do rely on these Grammarly. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but yeah. So there it is. There's what happened to me. I'll get that off there so it doesn't do that. I'll try to back it up and stabilize it. That's an actual email sent to Todd Cantamesa. So let me go back. One more. Let's get into here. Sent messages. Let's see. Let's get a good Todd one for you to read so you can get a tone of what the kind of things we've got going between ourselves here. If you're new to this whole thing. Let's see. To Lisa Brown, Patrol Services. Mark Seidels, not my attorney on this case, however, probably, arguably, the best attorney in the country. Mark Seidels of Seidels and Litwin. Phenomenal person, first of all, and gifted attorney. But I stress phenomenal person first, because even if you're talented at law, it wouldn't matter if you don't have ethics and you're not hardworking and you're not going to deliver. You don't care about your clients. It doesn't matter. You could be very, very well read in the law and a gifted, person in the courtroom, but if you don't have a good heart and a good moral compass and principles that guide you, it really doesn't matter. This man has those in spades, and as second to none when it comes to the law, the letter of the law. You know, his book smarts and his you know, awareness of all the procedures in federal court. It's just, he's a phenomenal attorney. I couldn't say enough about him. If you're in that Southern District of Florida or anywhere else where he practices, that's the name you want to call. Trust me. Okay, so let's see. You've got Daniel Kurt. Here's one discussing Todd. And this issue here I've put before you. I'll give you all the things here so you can see them all. And the memo that I'm referring to here that he's talking about here, just because I showed you the email, I'm going to go ahead and show you the memo too, just so that it's not something that's, you know, one thing I've always said throughout all these videos, and I really, really want to stand behind this and make sure that I live up to this 100%, is this. You are never, ever going to hear me ask you, believe me, trust me, take my word for it. I'm never going to utter any of that. What I'm going to do instead is show you, give you unadulterated access to the real deal records. And for those of you that are new and haven't watched any of my other videos, what you're going to get if you take an interest in this, and it should interest you, this is about our country, about our courts, about the legitimacy of our courts. This is a very high-ranking United States probation officer who's been at it for 30 years, who's done this to me, shamelessly and without hesitation. Okay, so that's the document I'm referring to in that email. I'll let that sit there long enough so those who are inclined can read it and you know, verify it and do whatever you'd like with it. Again, transparency is my friend. It is my absolute friend. In fact, it's my shield in some regard, because I'm being retaliated against, and quite frankly, I'm afraid. So, yeah, I love the oversight. I love that people are aware of this. I love the positive support and all that kind of thing. It really, really does mean a lot to me, and I thank all the people that stand behind me. So, again, back to what I was saying, this is an example of the kind of communication I'm having with an attorney, which I also take a huge issue with. I'll cut it off there because I'll end up ranting and going into a whole other thing, and this video will kind of lose its focus. The focus is, to take away is this, folks. That is the actual phone records from one, not all of the lines that Todd Cantamesa has called, and I have called him from. Yet, that same Todd Cantamesa reported to Judge Michael McShane that I am not communicating with him, that he has communication issues with me. We don't speak often enough. I don't respond to him, etc., etc. Again, you can believe his mouth or those phone records, which, of course, get a FOIA request, do whatever you feel like you need to do. His records will reflect the same. These are accurate phone records. I've said this before. I place myself under oath. If I'm lying, not only sue me for slander, but by all means prosecute me for whatever applicable laws. I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is the God's honest truth, every last syllable, without one utterance of exaggeration or speculation. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. I'm not certain. It's a hunch. But in this case, there's no hunch. This is not about opinion or anything else. This is just what took place. And again, extremely contrary to what he said. To the point that I'm wearing an ankle bracelet as I make this video. GPS. And for those who may quickly ask, and there's probably more to the story, I'll give you a quick bio on my case. Is I was violated for a term of supervised release less than 2 weeks at the expiration of it. I had 2 years. I was sentenced to no time of incarceration. I have a case of one single postal money order I pled guilty to for $800 restitution. I paid it back in full. Prior to the expiration of my supervised release, I was violated for allegedly for getting arrested, basically, having been found not guilty. For over a year, I've been waiting for revocation hearings. Haven't been given it. Have it postponed at least 4 times now. For what? Why was it postponed? Because the government and the probation keep saying, we don't even know if you're guilty or not. We want to wait to see what the outcome of the state case is. The state case, not guilty, absolutely not guilty, showed up to 2 trials already. postponed, asked for postponements by the state, both times granted. I've been waiting for 2 years, folks, for a case. What's the charge? A bogus shoplifting case that I have nothing to do with. Has nothing to do with me whatsoever. Involves the removal of exculpatory evidence by the police, racial profiling, you name it. Real ugly stuff, super ugly stuff. Watch the other videos, you'll see it. You don't have to take my word for it, just watch the other videos. I'll present just the same way I presented this to you. Not debatable, not arguable, straightforward. You'll see the same kind of style in the other videos. So here it is, 2 weeks before the expiration of my supervised release. Although I told the probation officer, Danielle Desinoy, when it happened 8 months prior. So here we are, 8 months later, on the eve of the expiration of my supervised release, she files this violation. So, Ann gets the jurisdiction of my case transferred from Memphis, Tennessee to Oregon, literally days, like less than a week before the expiration of my supervision, so that she could violate the case, because Memphis told her that the jurisdiction that had my case, Western District of Tennessee, said they did not want to violate and would not violate. So what does she do? She finds some backhanded way to get the jurisdiction transferred, and sure enough, violates me. Now, earlier I said not on supervised release. Well, all these documents will show they've been treating me as if I'm on supervised release, although everyone knows what the law, or those who are familiar with the law knows, my supervised release expired when the term of supervised release was over. There's no tolling it. There's none of that. I'm now just awaiting adjudication on this alleged violation that, again, I've waited for over a year now, well over a year, and had 4 different final revocation hearings scheduled and postponed. So that's not even the tip of the iceberg. Watch the other videos. What I just told you in my little this is all petty in comparison to what I told you. Even the lying to the court, I'll show you in those other videos far more serious lies and far more serious misconduct and illegal actions taken by these individuals in the United States Probation Office, specifically Todd Cantamesa and Danielle Desinoy. Far, far more serious than that if you watch the other videos. And again, as compelling and straightforward as this evidence is, the other videos have more. What I mean by more, I'll quickly show you something. Here, I'll click on the files link here on my computer. And if you're inclined or whatever, you think that this is the extent of the records, yeah, don't be naive. There's there's a lot more records in this. I mean, they're redundantly stored in cloud services. There's hard copies elsewhere, so don't think that I'm, exposing the source of these and the only copies. It's really not the case. So here it is. I'll go to Documents. I'll go to that's just in OneDrive. Okay, so Documents. I'll go to Sound Recordings. And there's those sound recordings. Those are all with U.S. probation. Now let me go into this sound recordings. Okay, with similar one. There's another file here. Let me see. Documents, sound recordings. That one's empty. Downloads. Those are all sound recordings there. I'll separate them by type. Let me separate them by their type. Group by type. And now you're going to see recording. All these things here, all these MP3 files, all recording. Now this is not the extent of it. You stick with me and you watch the rest of these videos. These are all, every single syllable for over 2 years with the United States probation. Every single syllable I've recorded. Every literal syllable spoken between them and I has been recorded. So when I tell you, you're going to get a very unique perspective on a probation officer lying through his teeth, breaking the law, and violating my rights repeatedly, without hesitation. I mean, I can't stress that enough. I'm going to show you some really, really gross things. See, I think I have to go into a different user to find the rest of the recording. So let me go into this one. And I shall go into OneDrive, see what I can find in there. Documents. And sound recordings. See, it said working on it. Now look at the list. See that list now? See that? That's how many recordings I have of them. Hundreds. Every single conversation. Every single conversation. Every court hearing, everything. So, when I say you don't have to believe me, I'll give you unadulterated access. That's my Gmail account, full transparency. These are my actual conversations with my attorney. These are conversations with my attorney. Conversations with my attorney. You know, I'm not some guy hiding behind a cloak. There's me. That's me right there. No hiding. That's me. So it's again, transparency, my friend. Please watch the other videos. Thank you for your time, and look forward to the next coming videos. If you think the ones you watched thus far are sensational or scandalous or just frankly fantastic, I mean, not in a positive way, in a way of wow, that actually took place, wait until you see the next ones.